Beastom Nation, week 13 of the fantasy football season. It's been a while since you've all seen my face, and I come back to you with a new mission and a new purpose of running Beastom. Now, I've been playing fantasy sports since 3rd grade, since I was a little kid. It's all I ever knew, and it's really something that growing up was a passion. I loved it. It still is a passion, and I love it dearly to my heart. But there's a difference of fantasy football back then from fantasy football today. Now that's a big show. You know, you got the audience, you got the fantasy pros, you got the daily fantasy. Yes, fantasy football is a game of passion, and it is for a lot of you, but it also is something that is not always lived through passion. So what my mission is to bring you that passion through passages of the Bible using fantasy football. With that, let's jump straight into it. The passage that we'll be reading today is from Romans chapter 6, verses 12 through 14. For people that are completely new to God, to the Bible, to anything, I'm going to give you a little synopsis of what this Romans is. Basically, this is a letter written by Paul the Apostle, and Paul was first someone that persecuted, that went and killed people that followed Jesus. But then one day, Jesus made him blind, and Paul was not able to do anything. He thought he was blind forever, but then Jesus sent someone to go make Paul unblind so that Paul could then go raise churches all around the world. This is in the Romans. This is a letter that he wrote to them. But in this case, he's writing this letter to Beastom. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto God as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. Before we break into this message, just take a moment right now to pray with me. God, please help us see this message that you are trying to send to us so that we could live the lives that you intended for us to live and not be sucked into a vicious cycle that fantasy sports can create. Amen. So, as a kid growing up, you know, I always remember is my mom and dad, my dad and I, we draft a fantasy football team together, and there's really nothing like drafting fantasy football. All the research you do to picking which player you want. Growing up, it was Terrell Davis. You know, you had that late first round pick. You're like, all right, Terrell might fall to us at 7, 8, 9. You're sitting in the draft room and boom, Terrell Davis is gone. But you adjust, you build a whole nother roster around it, and then a player gets injured like this season. Everyone in the Beastom Nation had Drew Brees as their quarterback. He gets injured week 2, so we have to figure out how to adjust the lineup around Drew Brees without being there. And then on top of that, Drew Brees is thinking about coming back a week early against the Chicago Bears. His fantasy owners are like, no, Drew Brees, don't do it. Don't do it. Next week you play the Arizona Cardinals. Just wait to come back for that game. Wait to come back for that game. It's a great process. It's a great process. Now, there's also a bad part of it. And a bad part of it is when you become obsessed with your team. And I'm talking, this has been me. Don't get me wrong. And to be honest, there's times when I'm still obsessed and I'm fighting it harder than ever. But there's a time when fantasy football can distract you from your life. And I'm titling this passage, this chapter right here, is Put Away Your Phone. Put away your phone. So I remember growing up, it was 1 o'clock. We lived in the West Coast, so the 10 a.m. games were the morning games, and 1 o'clock came around. And my dad always had to go on a walk with my mom. Always. Like, he couldn't sit around. He couldn't watch Eddie George in the afternoon go up against Tyron Wheatley and the Raiders. No, he had to go take a walk on the beach with my mom. Well, I got the house to myself and to watch all the football games. Well, not really all the football games. Whatever was on Fox and CBS. Yes, they did have DirecTV Sunday Ticket. But you know what they did not have back then? They did not have a cell phone. They did not have a cell phone. So when my dad went out with my mom, he comes back, he says, Jeremy, how'd we do? And I'd give him the full update and the full details. And whatever I said, he had to take word for word. Because the only way to find out the data, the stats, and all that stuff was by watching the post-game shows. You had to watch Chris Berman on primetime go over Tiki Barber, Tiki Barber with a 50-yard touchdown run. And it was a very exciting thing. That's how you knew how your fantasy players did. Yes, you can check Yahoo and refresh their italics numbers that were just like the most boring. Marvin Harrison 1/12/0. It's just like as boring as it got. It refreshed very slowly. It was a lot different. Today we all have cell phones. And these cell phones, do I have a cell phone? I got a cell phone right here. I got a cell phone. These cell phones, literally, all you have to do to refresh your stats is just swipe the screen, whatever. Refresh. And you get all the data that you need. You get Adrian Peterson, 7-yard run. All right, Chris Thompson's in that third down. Chris Thompson, 3-yard catch. All right, nice. I got Scary Terry at receiver. I don't have Scary Terry at receiver. Anyways, regardless, all the data is right here on your phone. And it becomes hypnotic. Imagine playing big fantasy sports tournaments when you have, you have your rent on the line. Let's just put it like that. I've been in this position, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. I have my rent on the line, okay? I'm just refreshing the stats. I'm refreshing DraftKings. I'm refreshing FanDuel. I'm refreshing my season-long fantasy teams. I'm refreshing ESPN. I'm just refreshing. Oh, I have to go out with my parents, walk on the beach with them. Refreshing. Actually, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't walk on the beach and refresh and all that. I don't know, I'm out with some friends, and my friends are like, oh, let's go get some food or something. Refresh. Oh, I'm with my girlfriend. We're in line for a movie. Refresh. You can tell I haven't been on a date in a second. Regardless, this phone can hypnotize you to the point where people only see you like this. No one knows who you are, you're just a phone. You're just a phone that just covers your face. And all you're doing is looking at sports scores. All you're doing is just letting the stats accumulate in your head to create these predictions and to create these numbers and to create these scenarios. Oh, if Joe Mixon can get 2 touchdowns this afternoon, then we're going to win the week. Things like this. And your mind, days go by, time goes by, life goes by, years go by, months go by. We really went out of order with all that time. But regardless, life is passing you by. And now I'm going to ask you this. Were you created on this planet to look at your phone screen with stats? Scrolling through, just taking up your entire day. Now, I get it. There's times where, hey, I'm walking across the TV, Jared Cook and the Saints and Drew Brees are on TV. I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to watch a second of the game. I'm going to watch a drive. I'm going to watch 2 drives. I'm going to watch 3 drives. But now times are different. Back then, my dad used to go on a walk with my mom. Then he'd come home and say, Jeremy, how do we do? Today, because I practice a different way of watching football, today, I'll go to my parents' place. There'll be like 2 minutes left in the morning games and we're about to go to the beach. On the way to the beach, since we didn't see the last 2 minutes of my game, or the Saints game, as we're driving, red light, my dad pulls out his phone. Jeremy, check how the Saints did on their last drive. Like, that's what our world has come to. And it's not the way to live your life. Honestly, you're dead. Let's look back at this passage, all right? Let's look at this passage. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. The money on FanDuel, DraftKings, winning your matchup. You're literally just obeying. You're obeying your phone and the stats that it's telling you on a second by second by second life. Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto God as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. So, listen, look, don't take this phone right here and then just use it to get your greed up, your lust up, and then all of a sudden you start lashing out. I remember when I was young, I was playing fantasy sports in college. I would go out on a date with a girl, and before the night started, she'd come over a little bit after tip-off. My guys are off to a hot start. All of a sudden, I'm up 70K. I'm up 70K from $20. Where do you want to go to dinner tonight? It's one of those type of things. We sit down at the restaurant. The menus come. It's $20, $25 a plate. Pull out my phone. I don't know. Pull it out. Refresh. I'm losing. I'm lost everything at this point. All of a sudden, my girlfriend at the time gets a phone call. Oh, I see it says like Nick on the thing. Oh, okay. Who's Nick? Who's Nick? My gay roommate that you met? I don't know about that. Anyways, regardless. All of a sudden you start being evil towards people. You start being a little meaner. You start, oh, you want to order that for dinner now? Oh, you're going to treat me like that? Oh, it's going to be like this. All of a sudden you're letting these evil things. You're letting your fantasy sports team make you an evil person. Do you see that? I mean, these are just examples from me. Maybe it's your own life, but you can't let fantasy sports change the person that you are towards other people. Then you're not really playing fantasy sports correctly. See, what I'm here to do is to help you, teach you how to play fantasy sports in a godly way, because we have lost the God in fantasy sports. It's all become lust and greed and all of that stuff. So anyways, don't use your instrument of fantasy sports as something to sin onto others and to be a negative influence on this world. Now you see someone on the street, instead of you're not going to give them $1 today because Drew Brees only had 1 touchdown on Thanksgiving. It's things like that. You just can't let fantasy sports take over your life, because the truth is, we have so much to be grateful for. The fact that we are breathing, the fact that you can take this breath, the fact that you can twinkle your fingers, the fact that you can process this information, the fact that your people around you that you love, that are still here in this earth with you, and they give you love and they give you whatever they give you, but you're alive. And when you're looking at stats on your phone, thinking, come on, Jared Cook, get that touchdown. Come on, Drew Brees, throw that second touchdown. Come on, Will Lutz, hit this 35-yard field goal. Come on, Adam Thielen, you're questionable, but maybe if I refresh, you'll be probable on Monday night. You're dead. You're dead. You're not alive. You are dead. As the verse says, but yield yourselves unto God as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. Be the light, the shining light that you are meant to be. Be a beast. All right? Be a beast in your life, not a person who looks at stats on your phone. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. Do not let fantasy football be a sinful activity. Do not let it turn you into the person that you are based on the results that you are getting. based on the results you're getting. If you're going to start acting like that, do you think God is going to reward a sinner who is literally being an evil person based off their fantasy sports performances? No. Put your phone down, put it away. I hope I didn't just crack my screen. Put your phone down, put it away. And this Fantasy Football Sunday and the rest of the fantasy football season, just be grateful that you're alive for every breath. When you're watching on TV with friends, with family, just be grateful that you're around these people. Be grateful that you're alive. Don't be dead watching fantasy football. Be alive in the spirit. And it's going to be a completely new fantasy football experience for you, because no matter the results, you are alive. And that is all that matters, and that is all that you need to do this weekend, and continue to practice that every single day, but especially during fantasy football, and your life will change forever.